Hey, it's Lucas, and today we're going to be trying Super-G Citra from 4C Labs for the first time. Super-G Citra is a cross of Ultra Sour 286 and Lemon Margie, both sativa hybrids, both strains that I've never tried before. So this is a sativa hybrid, it is brand new, it's from 4C Labs, and it is Super-G Citra. This is what the packaging is looking like. We always go over the packaging. If that's not something you're interested in, then just skip ahead. So it comes in this just plain blue packaging with a little bit of a pattern up there. The rest of the bag is not patterned though. It just says 4C Labs on the front, medicinal cannabis flower, and hard to read backwards, cannabis-based product for medicinal use in humans. This is what the back is looking like, prescription label at the bottom, and then up at the top here it says SGC 28:1 medicinal cannabis flower, 28% THC, less than 1% CBD, sativa, cultivar Super-G Citra, cultivator Organogram Canada, I think that's how you say that. Expiry 20th of the 2nd, 2025. I'm not going to read out the batch number. It says, use within 30 days of first use, unlicensed medicine. So I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked up anything about this flower, haven't looked up any other reviews, only what the cross was and whether it was sativa or indica. This is a sativa, like I said before. I've been looking for a good sativa. I tried Miss Kim last, and I didn't really like that. Just in general, the quality was bad, and the height itself was a bit too racy for me, so I guess we'll see what this is saying. Packaging, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. I think it looks alright, pretty nice, kind of plain in a way, but I like that it's blue and not just white or plain silver like a lot of the bags are. If I give this a squeeze, it definitely feels like there's some air in there. I don't know if this is packaged in a protective atmosphere, but I'm thinking when I rip the top off this, the smell's going to come out first, and I hope that it's good. 6 out of 10 for the packaging. Now let's go ahead and open this up. I haven't broken the inner seal, but I can already smell it. I'm not getting an overwhelmingly citrusy scent. It's a lot more musty than I thought it was going to be. It smells like medical pot first and foremost, even though it's in a bag and not a plastic pot. That is very underwhelming. It smells like stale old citrus. I'm getting slightly lemony, little bit sweet, but mainly just musty and medical. I'm going to give it a 5 just off the bat. I feel like I could give it less because I was expecting a better smell, but this is not the worst thing in the world, just not exactly what I was expecting. The mustiness is very off-putting. I wasn't expecting that from this at all. So on emptying this out, it came with a Boveda pack. The looks aren't bad. They're nothing incredible, and it feels quite spongy. I feel like this needs to be cured a lot more before it's going to be good to vape. Medium to small size nugs, good dust in a trichome, some orange hairs on there. Mixture of light and dark greens, nothing super special. To me, it just looks average. I'd give the looks probably, I'm going to give them a 7 actually. I don't think they look too bad at all. I wouldn't be really disappointed if I got this on the street. I would just stick it in a jar and leave it alone for a little bit. In the grinder, this breaks down very, very fine and dense, and the smell stays pretty much the same. It's a little bit sweeter, but it's just very underwhelming. It's not too super citrusy. It's more musty. It smells a little bit old. There is a little bit of sweet lemon in there, but it's nothing like I expected. It's definitely musty, and that is the main thing that I'm getting from this. It's just musty smelling. The ground up smell is going to stay at a 5. I keep smelling it to see if it gets any better, but it just doesn't. It's a straight up 5. I got this to be a daytime strain. Obviously it's a sativa. I'm hoping it gets me up and lifted and in a good mood. The way that I like to medicate for my daytime strains is I'll start off at between 160 and 175. Today I'm going to be starting out at 160 to see if there's any flavour to this whatsoever, and then I'm going to be stepping it up gradually all the way to 210. At 160 I get slightly sweet, slightly chlorine-y lemon taste, like chemical swimming pool lemon, slightly sweet. It's quite weird. It's not the worst thing I've ever tasted, but it's an interesting one for sure. It definitely does taste quite lemony though, not much vapor at 160. At 175 the flavour is pretty much the same. It's a little bit less sweet, more vegetal, but still very much citrusy, and around the edges of my tongue it feels sour, like almost like a puckering sort of prickly feeling around my tongue when I'm not vaping, and it does taste quite citrusy. It's not my favourite flavour. It's more of a citrus peel, like the white bit, the pith type thing. That's kind of what it tastes like, and the sourness around the edge of my tongue is a very weird feeling I don't know if I particularly like, but I guess it makes sense that the cross was sour something or other, because I'm definitely getting a sour feeling in my tongue. The flavour's not very intense. It's quite hit and miss as to whether I'm going to get any flavour on a hit or not. I've been taking a hit, getting a little bit of flavour, and then taking another hit immediately after, and getting next to no flavour, so that's kind of odd. At 185, the flavour's starting to taper off, and also the vapour is starting to slow down, the clouds are less thick. One thing that I've noticed about this is that it's really, really smooth. Usually when vaping, it doesn't matter what I'm vaping, I will cough, and I will cough to the point where like I feel like I'm going to be sick, or where my eyes start to water, but with this, I haven't really been coughing much at all. This is really nice and smooth. The flavour's not great, but the vapour that's come in is decently thick. It's starting to slow down now at 185, but yeah, it's very smooth, I'll give it that. The flavour for me is not what I expected it to be. I was expecting heavy citrus, really lemony, maybe grapefruit, lime, whatever. I was expecting citrus mainly, and it's kind of a letdown. Like, it definitely tastes like lemons, but it also tastes a little bit like chlorine and a little bit vegetal. It's just not what I wanted it to be. The sour feeling in my mouth is really weird. I don't even know if I would call it a sour feeling. That's the only thing I've got to liken it to. It kind of feels like when you eat pineapple, the chemical bromine, I think it is. The feeling that you get of that eating you is what this feels like in my mouth. The sour sort of almost like itchy, but not like itchy's not the right way to describe it, but think of the feeling of when you eat pineapple. That's what my mouth feels right now. Wow, I can't even speak. And it's not really super pleasant. It's kind of weird actually. So flavor for me and just overall mouth feel, which I don't think I've ever rated before, I've got to leave it at a 5 for right now. It's not disgusting, but it's definitely not something that I would consider good, really. At 160 it started out quite sweet, but as soon as we went past 160 it was not sweet anymore. So for me, it's not great. Not only is it not very powerful, but it's also just straight up weird. So the flavour for me is getting a 5 out of 10 for the first time trying it. So effects wise, I'm not really feeling an awful lot right now. I can kind of feel it in my eyes. I'm getting the typical squinty eyed effect that I tend to get from sativas. It doesn't feel, I can feel a slight warmth, but it's not hot like I get from sativas usually. Just going off what usually I feel when I have sativas, obviously. You can tell that this is not making me smart. It's got the same mind-numbing effects that I look for in an indica. My brain's not going a million miles a minute right now, which is not what I would expect from a sativa, which is quite nice actually. My brain is actually quiet right now, so that is completely not what I expected. I was expecting it to be going a million miles an hour. It's not. That's pretty good actually, I like that. I did boost it up to 210 and take a hit, and it did make me cough, but before 210 it was not making me cough. Whilst I'm not hitting this and I'm just holding it at arm's length, it stinks. It doesn't smell nice whilst it's burning. Well, it's not burning technically. Whilst it's being heated, it doesn't smell nice. Like, I can't really put my finger on what it smells like, but I don't tend to notice the smell of my bud when it's in my vaporizer, but this stinks for some reason. It doesn't smell nice. So starting out with the rating, the looks, I'm going to give a 6.5. They're not as good as I initially thought they were. They kind of look weird, like they've been sat on a little bit, just kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, just kind of look odd. And also when I was picking nugs out to put in my grinder to grind some up for the smell and also for a vape, I noticed that a couple of the nugs had some old brown leaves on them, which are not good. I don't like that, so 6.5. It's not terrible, like medium to small size nugs. Alright in colour, mix of dark and light green, some orange hairs on there, nice dust in the trichomes, but just weirdly shaped and also quite spongy. They seem a little bit wet. I feel like I'm going to need to dry these out before I can actually enjoy it. Maybe that'll bring out the flavour and the smell a bit more too, but for now, just 6. Did I say 6.5? Yeah, 6.5 for the looks. The smell is going to get a 5 for the whole nugs. It's definitely not as good as I was expecting it to be. It smells just kind of musty overall. There is a citrusy scent, a little bit of a sweet citrusy scent, but to me it also smells like medical pot, like plastic medical pot, so that's not good either, considering that I didn't come in a medical pot. It shouldn't smell like plastic. I'm going to give the smell of the whole nugs just a straight 5, and then when it's broken down, it smells pretty much exactly the same, just a tiny little bit sweeter, but it's just not even significant enough to mention. Just, it's staying at a 5, both for whole nugs and ground up smell. The taste, I'm going to give a 6, and that's purely for the interesting feeling that I get on my tongue. It feels like the same feeling as you get when you eat pineapple, and I think it's bromelain. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. When that eats you back and it makes your tongue feel kind of tingly or itchy or weird in a sort of way, that's the kind of feeling that I get from this. It feels sour in a way, but not like in a puckering sort of way, it's eating you back kind of way, which I suppose I don't really want that from my bud, but it's not something that I've had before from it, so it's interesting. And the flavour itself is just plain boring. It's a little bit citrusy. It was slightly sweet at 160, and then it got a little bit more vegetal and chemical when it got to 175, and then it's just kind of died off. So it's not good, I'll say, but there's nothing really worth commenting on because it's not really there. Like, it doesn't taste gross, and it's not particularly super harsh or hard to vape. There's just no flavour to it, so 5, I guess. There's a tiny little bit of flavour there, but it's just insignificant, so just 5 for the flavour. One thing that I will note is that I haven't coughed a lot. Until I put it up to 210, I didn't cough, so this is very, very smooth. It's not, I wouldn't call it a pleasant vaping experience, but it's not making me cough, so there's that. Looks 6.5, I think is what I said, but that's what I'm going with. Smell 5. Voice crack there, wow. Smell 5 for both ground up and whole nugs. Look, smell, taste 5. I think I said 6, but I'm going to give it a 5 because there's pretty much nothing there. I think this is just going to be a 5 across the board. I'm not super disappointed, but I'm not like jumping for joy or anything. This is £7.50 a gram, so £75 for 10 grams. I know that some clinics are doing it in 3.5s, but unfortunately Montu's not. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure if we all request it, then they might, but I don't know why they're not. At the minute, it's just 10 grams, and I don't think that this is worth £75. This should be. It's more on par with the Kieran banana ice cake that I had. I didn't mind that. It wasn't the best quality. It didn't taste or look or smell particularly good, but the medical effects for me were good, so I would pick that over this. If this was £5.50 a gram like that, then I might try it again, but at £75, definitely not. Effects wise, like I said, I don't think I've felt anything, but I've been talking and talking and talking, so typical sativa effects. I do feel a little bit not particularly uplifted. I actually feel quite sleepy, but that could just be how I feel today. I don't feel like I want to go run around like a madman or do chores or go to the gym or do anything. I actually feel like I want to go sit down, so the energizing effects of this aren't really there. Maybe in higher doses they might be, but for me, I find that particularly, I'm not sure whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like right now, I feel like it's a good thing because I'm feeling pretty chill, I'm feeling relaxed, but for a strain that I want to get me up and moving, I don't know if this is going to be it. My brain is definitely alert, I'm talking a lot, but I don't feel overwhelmed, I don't feel racy, I don't feel any of that. This doesn't really feel like a sativa to me, other than the fact that it's been the sour feeling in my mouth, the slightly citrusiness, and the fact that I'm talking and talking and talking and just won't shut up. The rest of it, my body actually feels quite calm. I don't feel, there's no like relaxation in my body at the minute, and there's no sort of like super head high either, so it just feels kind of balanced. Like something's a little bit different, but I don't feel like super high or anything. It's a weird one. I'm not quite sure how to rate this. I think for now I'm going to leave it at a 6. I was going to say 5, but because I'm not getting any negative sativa-y style effects, I want to give it slightly over a 5. So for now, Super-G Citra is going to get 6 out of 10 for my first impressions. Hopefully, after a little bit in a, I was going to say in a Boveda pack, that's not what I meant, in a glass jar, with or without a Boveda pack, depending on how I like it personally. I like it a little bit more dry than most people, I guess I would say. I don't actually know, I just know how I like it. So we'll see how it comes along and how the effects come out. I don't really know how to end this video. I wasn't expecting to feel dumb off this. I am very surprised that for the amount of shit that's coming out of my mouth and the amount that I'm just waffling, that my brain is actually very quiet when I stop and look around. It's not going a mile a minute. I feel very just like steady and quite relaxed, like not relaxed to the point where I want to go sit down and fall asleep and stuff. I just feel very, very normal. I feel like this is maybe how people without bad mental health feel every day. This is quite weird. Like, I don't feel particularly one way or the other. I just feel very normal. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here, because if I don't, I'm just gonna carry on talking and talking and talking. So Super-G Citra so far is getting a 6 out of 10. If you've tried this strain, leave me a comment telling me, did you like it, did you not, what should I try next? Subscribe for more videos, keep an eye out for the full review, it won't be anytime soon. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Wow, okay, right, peace.